Hi, my name's Andra, and today we're making cheesecake brownies. You want to set your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Light cream cheese, white sugar, 2 eggs, clear vanilla. So when you're making this recipe, it's always a good idea to get your ingredients out about a half hour before you want to start so they have time to get to room temperature. They blend better when they're warm rather than when they're fresh from the fridge. So today we're going to be starting with the cheesecake part of this recipe. So you take your cream cheese and you add it into your mixing bowl. Things like bowl scrapers are really helpful when you do this. It gets more of it into the bowl with less hassle. And you add your sugar, your eggs, which is always a good idea to crack into a separate bowl first. That way, if there's any little bits of shell, they stick to your bowl and don't get into your recipe. And then your clear vanilla. Now I like to use clear vanilla because it doesn't change the color of the cream cheese and it stays more of a creamy white color. And then you want to blend all of these things together at about a medium speed, just until blended. So you want it to be pretty smooth and creamy looking. Another reason why your bowl scraper comes in handy. You can clean off your paddle and get more of your batter into your recipe and not down your sink. Now because I only have one mixing bowl, I'm going to move my cheesecake portion into a separate bowl so that I can use the same bowl to mix my brownies. And now your cheesecake portion is ready. 3/4 of a cup of butter, 1 1/4 cups of sugar, 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 1/2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 cup of milk. Now the best part about this recipe is you can use it with whatever your favorite brownie recipe is. Today I'm going to show you mine. So you start with your butter. You need to melt the butter so it's completely melted in liquid. You can do this either in the microwave or on the stove in a pot. Today I'm going to use the microwave. So add your butter to your microwave safe bowl. And you put it in the microwave to melt. Now my butter's been sitting out for a while already, so it's already pretty soft, so I'm not going to need to microwave it for as long, but I'm still going to check it every 10 seconds or so to stir it up and make sure it melts evenly. So my butter is nice and melted. You can use the heat, if there's any little bits left in it, you can use the heat of the butter itself to melt them as you stir, rather than worrying about overheating your butter and having it burn. Now, since I've melted my butter in the microwave, I'm okay. But if you've melted your butter on the stove, you need to now remove your pan from the heat before you add in the rest of your ingredients. Next, we're going to add in our sugar and add it right directly into the butter, as well as your cocoa powder. And then take your wooden spoon and just combine them. And once that's all mixed together, you add in your eggs and your vanilla and stir it again. So you want to stir these lightly until just combined. So when your chocolate mixture is ready, it should look about like this. Next, you're going to combine your dry ingredients, which are your flour, your baking powder, and your baking soda in a small bowl. The reason we combine the dry ingredients before we add them to everything else is because it allows the baking powder and the baking soda to spread out more evenly through your entire brownie batter. So our next step is to add everything into our mixing bowl to beat everything together. Now if you have a hand mixer, you don't have to do it this way, but I have the stand mixer, so I have to. So you add your chocolate mixture into your big mixing bowl. Now that my chocolate mixture is ready to go, I alternatingly add my flour and my milk, doing a little bit at each time. So we'll start with some of the flour. You always want to make sure when you are adding flour that you start on a low speed Because if you start on a medium or high speed, your flour is going to go everywhere. Once your flour has started to combine, you can turn the speed up because the flour will no longer fly into the air. And you want to mix that just until it's combined and you can no longer notice the flour. Then you add in part of your milk. You usually want to add each in about 3 or 4 parts. Again, mixing until just combined. About the halfway point, it's a good idea to scrape down the edges of your bowl just to make sure there's no pieces of flour or anything stuck to the sides or at the bottom of the bowl where your mixture can't hit. So I've just added in the second bit of milk. It's a good idea to keep it at a low speed because it is a bit sloppy mixing with the milk, and that'll keep it from splashing everywhere. And then once it has combined a bit again, you can turn up the speed. Okay, this is my third bit of flour. Now you can see in here all of the flour that's sticking to the side of the bowl, so I'm going to scrape mine again. And your brownie batter is ready. The recipe I'm making today calls for brownies in a 9x13 pan. You can half everything I'm doing today and only make a 9x9 pan, but I like to have lots to make sure everybody gets as much as they want. And I foil wrap my pan and then spray it with the cooking spray, so that when I'm done, I just have to lift up the foil and my brownies come out nice and clean. You want to pour about 2/3 of your brownie batter into your pan and then hold the rest of it for the end. And now you take your cheesecake and you add it by about dollops just on top of the brownie. Pattern it, don't pattern it, whatever you feel like. Just get it on there. I'm going to try and even it out a little bit just so you get more cheesecake and more brownies. And again, just try and even it out a bit. It doesn't have to look perfect because we're going to marble it after this, so it will be nice and swirled anyways. And you take your butter knife, just drag it through however you feel like, and bake it for about 15 to 18 minutes. Now this bake time is specific to my brownie recipe. Follow the bake times for your brownie recipe and check it. You're more likely to have to add time than subtract it, but it just helps if you follow those guidelines. So, you'll know they're done because they won't be jiggly in the center anymore. So once your brownies have cooled, you just have to lift out your foil. And you're ready to start cutting, just like that. Now the only downside to this recipe is you do need to refrigerate your brownies overnight, otherwise they don't taste that great. So from this point, just put them in any sort of airtight container, pop them in the fridge, and they're good to go the next day.